What happened when Jesus returned from the Decapolis region? This is the question, and we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Luke on Walking Through the Bible. If you have a Bible with you, turn to Luke chapter 8. We're going to be reading from verses 40 to 56. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Luke chapter 8, beginning at verse 40. So it was when Jesus returned that the multitude welcomed him, for they were all waiting for him. And behold, there came a man named Jairus, and he was a ruler of the synagogue. And he fell down at Jesus' feet and begged him to come to his house, for he had an only daughter about 12 years of age, and she was dying. But as he went, the multitudes thronged him. Now a woman, having a flow of blood for 12 years, who had spent all her livelihood on physicians and could not be healed by any, came from behind and touched the border of his garment. And immediately her flow of blood stopped. And Jesus said, "Who touched me?" When all denied it, Peter and those with him said, "Master, the multitudes throng and press you, and you say, 'Who touched me?'" But Jesus said, "Somebody touched me, for I perceived power going out from me." Now when the woman saw that she was not hidden, she came trembling, and falling down before him, she declared to him in the presence of all the people the reason she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately. And he said to her, "Daughter, be of good cheer. Your faith has made you well. Go in peace." While he was still speaking, someone came from the ruler of the synagogue's house, saying to him, "Your daughter is dead. Do not trouble the teacher." But when Jesus heard it, he answered him, saying, "Do not be afraid, only believe, and she will be made well." When he came into the house, he permitted no one to go in except Peter, James, and John, and the father and mother of the girl. Now all wept and mourned for her, but he said, "Do not weep. She is not dead, but sleeping." And they ridiculed him, knowing that she was dead. But he put them all outside, took her by the hand, and called, saying, "Little girl, arise." Then her spirit returned, and she immediately arose. And he commanded that she be given something to eat. And her parents were astonished, but he charged them to tell no one what had happened. Like it has been with very many of the stories of Jesus' ministry thus far given to us by Luke, this too is a story we've covered twice before, once in each of our studies of Matthew and Mark. This will soon change, as Luke will be providing us with some material into parts of Jesus' ministry that was largely omitted by Matthew and Mark. When Jesus returned from the Decapolis region, a great multitude welcomed him. This is contrasted to the people he had just left, who had asked to leave because of what he had done. Upon his arrival, a ruler of the synagogue, Jairus by name, came to Jesus. When he came to Jesus, he fell at his feet, begging Jesus to come and heal his only daughter of 12 years old, who was near death. Jesus agreed to heal the young girl. Along the way, a rather peculiar miracle took place. While Jesus was walking, a woman came and touched his garment in order to be healed. Our version says that she had a flow of blood. Others might say it was an issue of blood or a hemorrhage of blood. What this flow of blood was from is not told to us, but she had this condition for 12 years. Luke also relates to us the fact that she had suffered many things at the hands of the doctors while trying to be cured of this disease, and in fact she had spent all her money doing so. Why had she made herself destitute in pursuit of a cure? Well, for one, if you were sick, wouldn't you do that as well? Let's not accuse this woman of something we might have done too. But a second reason is that according to Leviticus 15:25, her condition meant that she would be unclean under the law as long as a flow of blood continued. Being unclean under the law was a major inconvenience, for it meant extra precautions had to be taken, and people had to avoid touching the things that the unclean person touched, lest they too became unclean. The woman thus had two very good reasons for wanting to be cured. So knowing the power that Jesus had, and having faith that Jesus could simply heal her if she touched the hem of his garment, the woman did just that. Was she healed? Yes, immediately. Feeling that power had left him, Jesus asked who had touched him. When everyone denied it, Peter and the disciples were incredulous with Jesus' question, for they were in a large multitude. Any number of people could have touched him. The woman, though, was afraid, perhaps because she thought she had stolen Jesus' power, or that he would be angry with her and reverse the miracle, so she eventually came and told Jesus the truth. Jesus comforted this woman, telling her to go in peace, for her faith had made her whole. Coming now to verse 49, while Jesus was still speaking, people came from Jairus' house to tell him not to trouble the teacher any longer, for his daughter was dead. Once Jesus heard about the girl's death, he tells them not to be afraid, only believe, and she will be made well. Therefore, he, along with Peter, James, and John, go into Jairus' house. When Jesus came into the house, he found mourners present. Jesus asked them why they wept, for the girl wasn't dead, she was just sleeping. Those who were there obviously thought Jesus was being insensitive, so they ridiculed him for this statement. Jesus wasn't going to give these scorners the opportunity to witness this miracle, so he sent them outside and then took the girl's mother and father, along with Peter, James, and John, and went into the room where the girl was. Jesus took the child by the hand and told her to arise. Immediately the child arose and walked. Not only then had Jesus raised this girl from the dead, but when she arose, she was cured of the disease that had caused her to die in the first place. Truly an amazing miracle. Afterwards, Jesus told the family to provide the girl some food, for she must be hungry, but to not tell anyone that the girl was raised from the dead. Up to that point, only a select few had known that the girl had died, so it was not necessary to tell everyone that Jesus had raised her from the dead. I'm sure this was said because Jesus didn't want all the people to come to him to have their relatives raised from the dead, had they heard about this miracle. He had a greater purpose than simply raising the dead, which was to preach the gospel and then to die on the cross. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Luke chapter 9, verses 1 to 9, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.